Psychoanalysis and Spirituality, Shri Vidya. Namaste. Spirituality and psychoanalysis converge on central objectives of self knowing and self transformation. Shri Vidya is one of the most revered aspects of Hindu spirituality. Journey today is to open up a broad area of inquiry relating psychoanalysis and Shri Vidya. Guide here is psychoanalysis consultant Mr. Himanshu Vidya. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
So, can we start with locating Sri Vidya in Hindu spirituality?
Hindu spirituality is a very wide canvas, and in that wide canvas, one way to categorize all schools is to categorize them in groups of the Vedic schools. So Veda becomes one category. Then we have yoga, schools which are in the yoga category. Then we have the Nastic Darshan, where we have the Jain schools and the Buddhist schools. Then we have the Charvaka Darshan or the agnostic schools. So we have the theistic schools, the atheistic schools, and the agnostic schools. And then we have a category of a very large category called Tantra. So we have the 5 categories: the Veda, the Yoga, the Gnostic schools, the agnostic schools. In Gnostic schools, we will have the Buddhist schools and the Jain schools. In the agnostic schools, we will have Charvaka school. And then we will have Tantra. And Tantra is a wide area of Hindu spirituality. Within Tantra, we have 3 parts: right hand Tantra, left hand Tantra, and the central path of Tantra. If we come to the left hand part of Tantra, there are again many subdivisions, many schools within the left hand path, like the school of Agora, the approach of Mahavidya. And of course, there is confluence of these areas, like Agori can take the Mahavidya path, or an Agori may not take the Mahavidya path. But very important in the left hand part of Tantra is the school of the Dasha Mahavidyas. And in this school of Dasha Mahavidyas, the 3rd Mahavidya is Tripura Sundari. And Shri Vidya is the knowledge of concept and practice related to worship of Tripura Sundari. So when we say Shri Vidya, essentially it is Vidya or knowledge related to Shri, and Shri means Tripura Sundari. So when we say Shri Vidya, it is knowledge related to study and practice related to the worship of Tripura Sundari, which is the 3rd Mahavidya. So in that sense, Shri Vidya is a part of the Dasha Mahavidya schools, and specifically related to the 3rd Mahavidya, Tripura Sundari. That is how we can locate Shri Vidya in this broad area of Hindu spirituality. But one important aspect here is worth mentioning. In the Dasha Mahavidya school, there are 2 approaches. Some person can go through the sadhana of all the 10 Mahavidyas, or somebody can take a few of the 10 Mahavidyas and leave out some. Like the most common to be left out would be Dhumavati. Or the 3rd approach can be, you take up only one Mahavidya and only specialize in that. Now, when you look at this approach of going to the school of Dasha Mahavidya and then specializing only in one Mahavidya. If you look at this particular approach, it is interesting to note that people who take this particular approach, by and large, specialize in Sri Vidya. So if somebody has to take only one Mahavidya, most people will go only for Tripura Sundari. There will be very few who will say, I will do only one Mahavidya and go for only Kali or only Kamala. So if you look at the schools of Dasha Mahavidya, one of the most popular Mahavidyas on a standalone basis would be Tripura Sundari and Shri Vidya. And you will find schools which specialize only in Shri Vidya, who will not go to any other Mahavidya but specialize only in Shri Vidya, spread across India and especially on the two extremes. These Shri Vidya schools, which specialize only in Shri Vidya, are very strongly concentrated in Tamil Nadu and in Kashmir. And in both these areas, we have produced great mystics, great saints, great rishis who specialize only in this Mahavidya. One of the persons worth mentioning would be Abhinav Gupta, and the schools which are following from him and disciples which later on go into other areas. But you will still find schools, even today we will find schools in Bangalore, in Andhra Pradesh, in Tamil Nadu, in Kashmir, which specialize only in Sri Vidya. So that is how we can locate Sri Vidya in the canvas of Indian or rather Hindu spirituality.
So that is a spectrum from where geographically we can see how the entire continent is touching the zones of understanding this Mahavidya. What exactly is Sri Vidya? Is it just a set of disciplines and specialized spiritual aspects or something beyond that?
It's a very important question. What is Sri Vidya? Literally, there are two words, Sri Vidya. So it is Vidya of Sri. So Vidya is knowledge and Shri refers to Tripura Sundari. So it is knowledge related to the theory and practice of Tripura Sundari. That literally is what Sri Vidya means. Right? Vidya of Shri. Shri is Tripura Sundari, and therefore it is the knowledge related to theory and practice of Tripura Sundari, the sadhana of Tripura Sundari. So this is the literal meaning. Now coming to the more deeper part of it. Sri Vidya is a spiritual system. Like it is a spiritual system, one. Two, it is a system, a comprehensive system for self-knowing and self-transformation. So you can call it a comprehensive system for self-development, which has two important aspects, three important aspects, four rather: self-knowing, self-transformation, and very importantly, and this is where Sri Vidya differs from many other spiritual schools and also from psychoanalysis, that Sri Vidya as a system deals not only with self-knowing and self-transformation, but also with world-knowing and world transformation.
Okay.
Because if you look at the entire realm of psychotherapy, in psychotherapy, we always say that we can do whatever we can do only in the psychotherapy room. Outside of the room is a reality about which we can do nothing. So we can change our responses to reality and thereby change our internal reality, but there's nothing we can do about the external objective reality. Sri Vidya does not believe in that or does not stop at that. So Shri Vidya goes also into world knowing and world change. And this it does by two approaches. One, by understanding the world in an essential way. And I'll detail out why I use the word essential later on. But for the
Right.
moment, it understands the outer world in an essential way, and it tries to change the external world by developing powers of the individual. And this
Okay.
word powers has two meanings. One, it develops the faculties of an individual, which we all try to develop as a part of our self-development process. It may relate to uh, ability to think clearly. It may relate to self-assertion. It may relate to drawing boundaries. It may relate to uh, overcoming problems of submission and domination. Right? So these are what we deal with in normal psychological or self-developmental process. So enhancing the capability of the individual by working on oneself and transformation. But another important part, which is distinct about Sri Vidya, is development of mystical powers. We are told in tradition that Sri Vidya also helps one develop mystical powers and thereby enhance one's well-being, one's security, and also change the world. So Sri Vidya in that sense is not only a system of self-knowing and self-transformation, it is also a system of world-knowing and world transformation. It is also a system of developing mystical powers. It is also a system to experience those realms which are not accessible in a normal way. And if you put all of this together, it's a comprehensive system of spirituality, psychotherapy, philosophy, mysticism, and social change. So in that sense, it is a very comprehensive system. And this is where it is like a grand theory of everything. Like, I wish to know how does the world operate, the philosophy of the world. And I want to know how do I operate, the psychology of the self. So the psychology of the self,
Right.
the psychology of others, and the philosophy and of the world, all of that is put together in Shri Vidya. And therefore, this becomes a essential and comprehensive theory of everything. Because human beings always want to create a theory of everything. And there are two ways of going about it. One is the science way, where you go into details of it, which creates comprehensive knowledge, specific knowledge.
Right.
Or you can create essential knowledge, like you can say the world is created out of Panch Mahabhut. Now that is a way of modeling the world in an essential way.
Right.
That you define a few categories and then you explain the rest of the system in terms of those categories. So similarly, there is a specific knowledge of science and an essential knowledge, a generic knowledge that philosophy and spirituality goes into. Philosophy mostly goes into, spirituality is halfway, partly essential, partly comprehensive. So if you look from that point of view, Shri Vidya is like a comprehensive theory of everything in essential terms.
So when it is all inclusive of fundamentals and practical working of all the origin and the end of it, it makes us more interesting to put the next question, how it is practiced.
That is an esoteric question. We know the generics of it. The real answer can come only by somebody who is a guru in this Shri Vidya, or somebody who has been a disciple of a guru for some years. Because Shri Vidya is something that you learn over years. It is not something you can learn over weeks or months. It is years of effort. And as we go into the details of Shri Yantra, we will realize why it is years of effort. So first is you have to find a guru. You cannot learn Shri Vidya completely without a guru, because much of it is experiential analysis. It is not conceptual analysis, and it is specific to you as an individual. So if two people learn Shri Vidya, they will learn it in different ways, because they will learn something about Shri Vidya, and then the guru will say, now go out and live in the world and let me know what you have learned. How does it apply to your experience? And both of them will come with different experiences. So the path of every individual is different, and that will make the path of learning Shri Vidya also individual. So first is we have to find a guru, and then the guru goes into preparation. So the person is prepared. So the second step is preparation. This is like a pre-warming up of the individual. And preparation can involve helping the person settle himself financially first. Like one of my gurus, he used to have this approach that first he would give some mantras and certain practices which would help the person financially stabilize himself. And then he would start the real spiritual sadhana, so that the person is not disturbed by everyday needs of money. Some people don't use this path. They use deprivation also as a tool for spiritual development.
Okay.
So different gurus have a different approach, but there is some sort of preparation always involved. The preparation not only prepares the person physically and mentally, but also it is a kind of a test.
Okay.
That if somebody is not able to do even the preparatory exercises, how is he going to pass through the long years of Sri Vidya? It is like a very difficult course, like you are recruiting somebody for master's course in theoretical physics, and if the intellectual capability is not there, there is no point of recruiting anybody.
Absolutely.
So the first is to find a guru. Guru then assesses the individual and prepares him and also tests him. After the guru's satisfaction that this person is cut out for Sri Vidya, Diksha is given. This is very important.
Okay.
And Diksha ties the person, mystically speaking, to the spiritual school of the Guru.
Okay.
And different schools of Sri Vidya, they have different approaches to the learning of Sri Vidya in details. Generic mantras may be the same, but the details are different. So, the second important point is Diksha. And it is only after Diksha is given that certain mantras are given for chanting and the real practice of Sri Vidya begins. So one of the very important aspects of Sri Vidya sadhana is chanting of mantras. And this chanting of mantras is not directly done, in isolation. So what happens is there is a fixed system of upasana or worship. So it is like after taking Diksha, you are trained in how to do Sri Vidya Upasana. And what that means is you have an image of Tripura Sundari. You have a Shri Yantra. Now Shri Yantra is the Yantra form of Tripura Sundari. And we will see in some time what it looks like and what it signifies. But in Dasha Mahavidya approach, you always have Yantra, Mantra and Tantra. So in any worship of any Devi, you will have a mantra, you will have a yantra, and there will be a specific way of doing it. So you first start with ordinary puja, then you do mantra japa related to Ganesha, then you do mantra japa related to the Guru, then you do mantra japa related to Tripura Sundari. And after that, you can have a few more mantras, and then you end the puja. But in the puja, there always will be a picture of Tripura Sundari or an idol and a yantra. And over a period of time, the person develops a relationship with Tripura Sundari in some sort. And this is a very interesting state because we are almost precipitating a pre-psychotic state. If you look at it negatively.
Okay.
So, in that relationship, all the desires come out. And there are two very important principles of Tantra, which are followed in Dasha Mahavidya also and Shri Vidya also. The two principles are personify everything.
Okay.
And relate to it. Which means, if we are trying to understand the force of gravity, instead of understanding it as an abstract principle, we will personify it into a gravity deva. We will personify it and create a god of gravity. And then there will be a story of origin of that god. There will be a story related to the characteristics of that god. There will be story related to the life of that god. What has he done? There will be a story related to likes and dislikes of that god. And then the person will relate to that god in a personal way, in a subjective way. So personification and personal relationship are very important in Tantra. So even when we are dealing with an abstract principles, you personify, you relate, and through that relationship you work out. So the same happens here in Shri Vidya also. That when you are doing Shri Vidya sadhana, you are trying to understand the world, you are trying to understand yourself, and you are trying to understand the mystical aspect of the universe. But in every time, whenever you are trying to understand the deep concept, you personify and you relate. So this is where the theory turns into a story. The theory is rendered in the form of a story. And you have an immersive experience and you learn by immersion the principles. So the generic principles are functioning in you subjectively, and you learn of them not only by direct experience, but by experiencing them in relationship with a personified deity. So this principle continues in Shri Vidya also. And in Shri Vidya, there are two ways of learning the Shri Vidya. One is you start from the Bindu, the top of the Shri Yantra, and you move downwards. This is called the Srushti path. The Srushti path of learning Shri Vidya. The Srushti approach, the creative approach. And the second is you start from the bottom of the Shri Yantra and go up to the Bindu. That is called the Samhar path, or the path of renunciation, or the path of destruction. So you have the path of creation and the path of destruction. Destruction not in the negative sense, but in the sense of Shiva, in the sense of destroying the entanglements of the world. So the idea would be that And we will see that when we look at Sri Yantra, how the two paths are different. But, and you can follow both paths also. You can first move outwards and then move inwards. For those who want to experience the world, who want to experience the luxuries of life, the pleasures of life, and everything. So for experiencing the world, you move from Bindu outwards. And if you want to give up and slowly reach the state of enlightenment at the Bindu, so the Bindu signifies the state of enlightenment. So there you move from outside to inside.
Inside.
So there is a Samhar approach and a Srishti approach, and you can do both also. Usually, people who are married, they start with the Srishti, and after they are satisfied thoroughly, they go into Samhar. Those who are sannyasis or sadhakas, they straight away start with the Samhar path. So it is like the Srishti path is the path of Brahma, and the Samhar path is the path of Shiva.
So, as you're sharing about Sri Yantra and how essential is Yantra and Devi Pujan beyond Tantra and Mantra, what is Sri Yantra? It is depicted in a very geometrical format, and we have seen in our households, in our temples, in the house, even at the workplaces, people use it. How significant it is, and what does it mean? What it comprises of?
Sri Yantra is a very important aspect of Sri Vidya. As the word suggests, right? Sri Yantra means Yantra of Sri, Yantra of Tripura Sundari. So it is a Yantra in which Tripura Sundari is depicted geometrically. And by that, what we mean is, in pictorial terms, right, we have put theory of everything in that pictorial term. And we will see in some moments how it is so. And Sri Yantra, which is a graphical form, a coded form of Sri Vidya, it has two aspects. In that pictorial form, there is a structural description of the universe, of the individual, of the society. At the same time, there is a functional description also.
Oh.
So there is a structural description and a functional description of the world around us, of ourselves, and about the philosophy of the world. And Sri Yantra is worshipped in two ways. When it is worshipped in a two-dimensional form, it is called Sri Yantra. And when it is worshipped in a three-dimensional form, it is called the Meru. And let me just show you the pictorial form. So you can see on the right hand side is the 2D form of Sri Yantra. On the left hand side is the 3D form of Sri Yantra, which is called the Meru or Sri.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let us look at what it means, and that is very important. If you look at the center here in the 2D, this is the Bindu. You can see the arrow. This is the Bindu at the center. So if you look at Sri Yantra from the top, you will see this. So this is the 3D Sri Yantra. If you look at it from the top, on a paper, it will look like this. This is the 2D projection of this one. So this is the real 3D Sri Yantra Meru. And if you look at it from the top and flatten it on paper, this is how it will look. So on the right hand side is the plan view or the top view of this 3D Yantra. Right? So if you look at the 3D Yantra, this is the Bindu. Is it visible, the arrow I am showing?
Yes, the cursor. Yes, we can
Yeah,
see the cursor.
the cursor. So this is the bindu. So this is the state of enlightenment. And how you start? You start from here. Right? So these are the three layers, and you slowly move up. Then you have these layers, and you slowly move up, and you have move up, and slowly you reach this. Now, what is this in the inner world? In the inner world, this is a state of no thought, high awareness, bliss, the state of enlightenment. Some people also describe this state as a state of union, oceanic union with the universe. So whatever way you define enlightenment, the bindu signifies that state of enlightenment. And therefore, you are whatever you are, and as you move from here to here, on the way you solve all the pathologies, you develop your potential, and finally you reach here. Bindu. So wherever you start, the final destination is this. So this is what we call is the samhar path, that you start from here and you keep shedding your entanglements. You keep overcoming all your attachments, all your fears, all your desires, and slowly you reach here. So this is samhar path of going from bottom to the top. But if you want to live out the world, then you come from top to the bottom. Like if somebody has been an introvert all his life and he wants to balance his personality by being an extrovert, he will have to go outwards, top down. Somebody has been an extrovert all his life, or somebody is a sannyasi, he wants to just break free from everything, he moves from bottom to the top. So if you move from top to the bottom, it is Srishti path. If you move from bottom to the top, it is Samhar path. Samhar meaning you are breaking, you are killing all the attachments one by one. You are killing all the desires. So the movement from bottom to the top is a movement of giving up desires, mastering desire. The movement from bottom to the top is a movement of succeeding in the world, satisfying your desires. And both require capabilities. It is not that only one path requires capabilities. Succeeding the world also needs capability. And succeeding in spirituality and breaking free of desire and breaking free of the world, that also requires capability. The best way is first go bottom to top and then move top to bottom. Sorry, first go top to bottom and then move bottom to top. So in Osho's words, bottom to top is the path of Zorba, and top to bottom is the path of Zorba, and bottom to top is the path of Buddha. And the best is to have both of them. First experience Zorba and then become a Buddha. So if you look here, then this is the way two paths are. If you come to this plan, then the Srishti path will be in the center is the Bindu. So you move from center outwards, this is Srishti path. And if you start from any of these dwars, there are 4 gates, the dwar. If you move from dwar inwards towards the Bindu, it is the Samhar path. So this is the way. There are certain more things to be said about the Sri Yantra. We are nearing time for this session. Let us take up in the second part. We continue from here. What do these two things mean? And what importance they have in Sri Vidya? Because Sri Yantra is at the center of Sri Vidya. Because this is like a graphical depiction of Sri Vidya.
So we connect in the part 2 of continuing with the same Sri Vidya.